Mousetronaut by astronaut Mark Kelly. And this copy's signed by the author. Right there. The space shuttle is set for a launch, and the astronauts are doing their last-minute training to prepare for their mission. NASA is sending along some special guests for this flight, and they are training too. Look at the chin-ups, One mouse is smaller than all the rest. His name is Meteor. The other mice know he won't be chosen for this important mission. But someone has their eye on Meteor, and he's impressed with the little mouse's hard work. The shuttle commander announces that 6 mice will be selected for the flight, and he picks 5 of the biggest, strongest mice. But for the 6th spot, to everyone's surprise, he chooses Meteor. All 6 are taken to their new home, a special cage called the Mouse Hotel. The other mice are nervous as the countdown begins, but not Meteor. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off. At first, the mice are pressed flat against their cages by the power of the launch. But then the pressure goes away, and the other mice cling to their cage in terror. But not Meteor. He loves the feeling of weightlessness. "Hey, little guy," the commander says, "you're a natural, a real live Mousetronaut." Meteor is taken from his cage and gets a tour of the shuttle. He can even see Earth way off in the distance. The astronauts are all very busy during the 14-day flight. There are spacewalks to take and experiments to conduct, but what can Meteor do to help? Then, while answering email, one of the astronauts notices the key to the control panel is stuck between the monitors. When he tries to get it out, it accidentally gets wedged further down. "This isn't good," said the commander. "We need that key back." One astronaut tries to move the monitor. It doesn't budge. Another slips her fingers into the crack, but the key is stuck down too deep. And one even tries pushing it out with a long piece of metal, but no luck. No one can reach it. The astronauts are getting worried. But as they discuss the problem, a tiny figure has an idea. "Being the smallest isn't a bad thing," Meteor says to himself. "Maybe I can be useful on this flight." Meteor squeezes his way into the crack. The space is dark and cramped, but Meteor spots the key and tugs at it with all his might. "Hey, look at what our tiny friend has done," the commander says. "He saved the mission." When the shuttle returns to Earth, Meteor is declared a hero, and he's even given a brand new uniform and an official title, Mousetronaut. All the astronauts cheer and applaud, but Meteor is already thinking about his next big mission. The end. And the author, Mark Kelly, who is an astronaut, writes that, "I flew with mice during my first mission on the space shuttle Endeavour. And just as NASA takes care with human astronauts, animals are treated with consideration for their needs, and special cages are constructed with mesh so that the mice could grip it with their toes. And pressurized water containers and compressed food were installed, and a waste containment system was created to keep things clean." And during his first flight, there were 18 mice on board. All of them clung to the inside of the mesh during the entire mission, but one mouse, smaller than the rest, seemed to enjoy the experience and floated effortlessly around the cage. The story of Mousetronaut is inspired by that mission. We all watched him as he enjoyed the feeling of weightlessness. And I started to think about that mouse, and I thought I would like to have him as part of the crew. The real mouse stayed in the research cage throughout the mission, but he is what I based the story on. So he talks some more about his space travel and some of the other animals that go. Like, for instance, in 1961, a chimpanzee named Ham became the first chimp in space. Ham, he had a mission to perform tasks he had been trained for on Earth. Could he do it? Could he push a lever? And he could. And after his service, Ham was retired to the National Zoo in Washington, D.C., where he lived for the rest of his life. Arabella and Anita, two spiders, also took part in their flight because they were part of an experiment suggested by a high school student to find out if spiders would be able to spin webs in weightlessness. And it turns out they could. And their webs were spun very similar to the webs on Earth.